I'm Jamie S. Rich, and this is Back to the Gutters.
I like to use these Pentel pocket brushes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful brush. I use a Winsor Newton Series 7. I love comics, so I was
So today we're doing something a little different on Back to the Gutters. We are at Club 21 in Portland, which is a frequent hangout for Robbi Rodriguez. Thanks, Robbi. Thanks for bringing us out to your little, your local, your home away from home.
You guys are welcome. You know, don't cause too much riot because I don't want to get kicked out of here.
All right. How often do you actually work here versus, do you have a studio at home as well, and you shake it up? Or?
I have a studio at home but also have a space at Tacoma Base as well. So I kind of frequent between those three spots in general because I'm very antsy. Sometimes I get bored in one spot, it's like, oh, not feeling it today. Go to another spot, not feeling it today. Come here, yeah, I'm feeling it right now.
All right. Well, normally I start with someone and I start with the beginning of their career, but I feel like right now you have such a flashpoint of what's going on for you. You're the usual cliche of the overnight success that took like 10 years.
Yeah, 10
or
years
so.
pretty much, yeah.
How did the whole Spider-Gwen thing come about?
They came to Jason and asked him, can you pitch something for the Edge of Spider-Verse mini thing?
Jason Latour. So he was writing for them already.
Yeah.
Wolverine and stuff.
Jason doing like a Wolverine and Wolverine X-Men type of stuff like that. One thing that connected me and Jason, we hate each other the first time we met. We absolutely hate each other, but we really spent one day when he was staying in New York, when I was staying with a mutual friend of ours, connecting on music. And I was like, we knew all right, that's the perfect gateway to go into this. And then also, and also we knew it was gonna be one and done, so we're like, you know what, fuck it, let's just Marvel's never gonna hire me again. I know that for sure. So you know what, I'm just gonna go balls to the walls with it in general.
It's what the audience is very hungry for is great women characters and fresher concepts.
Yeah.
Fresher spins on older concepts.
Yeah. That was a case. See, it's not a case where, even though it is, I've noticed that the trend going on there, but that was never the initial idea behind doing Spider-Man. We just wanted to do a very strong character piece at that point within this uber superhero, ultra reality universe in general. That was the case of that. We just want to do a story about a person. We never had no intention we gotta market to the female audience. We had no intention of that. So you know what? We want to make something that we would buy.
The design of her was instantly striking. How did you go about, what did you draw on to?
Me and Jason are both Daredevil fans. We want to create this street level character, and doing that element brought into design where you go on straight, hoodies, that's it. Most kids, they still wear hoodies. It's hoodies, jeans, and chucks. They never go out of style in general.
So you started though, like we said, you started 10 years ago. Was the first book you did Hero Camp?
Yeah, I did Hero Camp with Greg Thompson.
Is that self-published or how?
It started out self-publishing. We did little zines in Texas and going to little shows around there. That's where we met pretty much the initial crew. We met Ivan Brandon. That's where I met Latour. That's where I met Remender. That's where I met Hickman and all this pretty much an Aaron, just guys who are in the industry pretty much. That's where we kind of met here and there doing that.
2005, 2006?
Yeah, actually, 2004, about 10 years.
2004, okay.
Yeah, it's about 10 years from today. So I screwed this up, and then I figured, all right, it's one and done. I figured out, I guess I'll go spend my rest of my days working at Target after that. But at least I got that little chunk of doing what I want to do.
So where did you start? Did you grow up in Texas? Or?
Yeah, I grew up in Texas. I grew up in Waco, Texas. Small towns, like college town in general. Where went to local comic book shop here and there. Pretty much lit. If you guys have seen The Wire, I lived in that neighborhood for a while.
Jeez.
Yeah. But there was a local comic book shop around the corner, and my dad was a huge nerd at the time. So it exposed me to genre movies. So exposed me to pulp stuff. Exposed me to H.P. Lovecraft books. Exposed me to history books and whatnot. Just I kind of just developed off that in general.
So when did you know you were gonna draw? What was the impetus? Did you always draw as a kid and you just found comics, or was it?
I'm not sure whether it be. I just happened to fall in comics. It's one of those things just naturally good at in general. But I knew it was gonna be some type of storytelling. I know it's gonna be either film or music or whatever. I just knew there was gonna be some type of storytelling in general in my life.
So you toiled at Oni for a while. You did maintenance for like 12 or so
Yeah,
issues.
we did about 12 issues, yeah.
And then you did a little bit of Tech Jansen.
Yeah.
And then you moved on to, you did a volume of Polly and the Pirates. So what did you jump into after that?
That's when I started going to self-publishing at that point. That's when I started doing the my Frankie Get Your Gun Westerns.
So once you were here, what were you working on by the time you came here? Because you did some Uncanny X-Force and some other things for Marvel, didn't you?
Yeah, I started doing the Uncanny X-Force with Rick Remender. Because again, old friend asked me to do with Villain. And it's like, it was at a time where I wanted to dip my toe, like maybe I should dip my toe into the big two in general, just see what that machine is like. Just
Right.
like, you know, figure out if these jeans fit right in general if I do it. So like, all right, that's a good opportunity, and it's a nice paycheck. We'll do that. Because trust me, after doing like self-publishing, and also doing like on your rates, you know, that's like, oh, that's like free money for the same amount of work. I was doing that, and then kind of doing spot stuff here and there, just doing like fill-ins or covers or pinups for friends and whatnot.
So even though you're co-owner of FBP and it's kept going without you, what inspired you then to leave something that's basically half yours? Like,
I battle with depression quite a bit, like significantly. So that's what keeps me working all the time, because me working just keeps me going and
Yeah,
going.
you need something to do.
I have to be that shark just to keep moving and moving and moving, or if not, I'm gonna do some other self-destructive stuff to me. At a point where I was very unhappy, and there were times where during that book, I had to literally like crawl out of bed in order to get to my table, get to Tranquillum Base to work, and just to get pages done, because I needed to get it done, because I made that commitment not just to my editor, but also I have Nathan Fox and Rico Renzi to think about too as well, because I brought them onto that ship as well. So I had to like keep going and going for that. I think I made a decision. I had to go around issue 10, and I told you guys, I'm giving you guys 3 issues to find a book, to find a fill-in.
It's really reasonable.
Yeah, find a fill-in for this. Like, it's time for me to go. And from now, it's like, it got so fed up. And also, at the same time, my wife got separated at the time. People unaware were, my eyes are terrible. My eyes are bad.
Right.
I have a condition called KC where my retinas are thinning out. They can't make any more contacts for my eyes. Like, I hit the limit.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to wear like reading glasses on top of this.
So the problem is it's hard to see the stuff that's up close, or
It's just like, in general, like everything's a big blur. If you guys go see it, like if you ever see a 3D movie,
you take them off.
when you take it off, I can see it.
Wow.
I can see it straight. That's how it is.
Wow.
So to the point where that's why I switched over to digital, and because digital saved my career. There's no way I can do hand art on top of that.
So do you do paper at all anymore, or is it all on this tablet?
See, I used to do paper. I do like commissions for people, but up until this last eye exam, like I can't do anymore. I'm done. There's no way I can do paper stuff anymore. People keep asking me for like Spider-Gwen pages or like sketches and whatnot. I was like, dude, I can't anymore. I physically cannot. Like, this kind of points, like, yeah, it's like there's points where like my body's like, I get real, like, yeah, like my body can only go so far, and from that, I'm like, I got to cut it off at that point.
So on here, do you work in the same basic steps as someone on paper would do? You do like layouts?
I treat this thing as it was paper. I never treat it as like, oh, I can just put a filter on it, or I can do I like do this get this weird little brush here, and it will do the same trick for me.
Cut and paste.
It's like, no, this one is like, I treat it like paper. Like, easily, like, yeah, I can easily like stat something and put in the background, like, but I'm like, it's gonna look so static, and like it's gonna look like I just did like a cut and paste with it, even though like the average reader would never notice this, or someone who's never drawn it, they're never gonna notice this. But I know if I do that, it's gonna take some life out of the page.
So, from my understanding is you've got actually some stuff you can show us on here, like the different versions of a page and how you lay it out. So if you can fire that up, I think we can look over your shoulder a little bit.
All right, we'll do that right now.
So we've moved around a little bit because we want to look at how Robbi works here, but we're actually at the bar because you tend to work here pretty regularly,
Pretty
correct?
frequently, yes, I do.
So you cut your time between Tranquility Base and at home. And you work here on your Cintiq.
Yeah, on the Cintiq Companion, yes I do.
So is this your primary tool?
This, and I go beyond with this, and also a bigger 24-inch Cintiq that's at my place right now.
What's kind of fascinating looking at this though is so you're working completely digitally, but you start off with blue line, which is a very traditional.
Yeah.
Is there a reason you go from like blue to red, or why you've chosen to start with blue?
It's like an animation style. Like just talking to animators in LA, just like going to red. That's like the biggest thing. Getting like, I started like picking it up more and more, and it's like, oh, you know, it does pick it up in general.
So you can still see the blue underneath if you want to.
It starts off as this crude little drawing here, and then gradually I just kind of just build it up from there, where I can figure out the form, and just drop that bottom layer down from there.
So you're saying this is the pencil stage, then you go straight to inks off of something like this?
I go straight to inks from there, where, say with, let's see with this page right here, because I work with like multiple times. Like sometimes I'm working on like 2 or 3 pages at the same time.
So when you jump to inks, you work with the red layer?
Usually I'll go back from the initial red layer where I'll pencil this out. Switch over to blue, where I'll go back in, and I just go like, it's essentially it's my same process where I do from panel for panel, but at least this time it's like it's all together.
Well, that's kind of cool because you can just focus on that one panel.
It gives me like a little bit of focus where I can just do this, and then I go back in and start inking it, and also work like 3 different pens on the Cintiq, where I got 3 different nibs on here in general.
Right.
I have a brush one, the static one, and a rubber tip one. Well, the rubber tip one will give you more of like a marker stroke.
So it knows the pen already, as opposed to like changing like a digital brush. You're actually changing the tool, the physical tool.
Yeah, I'm changing the physical tool with in general, and that's just how it works. It's a case where I treat it like paper, where much like when I used to do more on paper, where I used to like have a nib, have a brush. I have a zebra brush pen in order just to get the different textures in general with it. Even on my bigger Cintiq, I'll still use straight edge on my Cintiq. Like people want to look at me weird.
You'll put like an actual ruler down.
I put the ruler down, just straight edge it right down.
So is there something you do then? Is there a point in the process where you actually have to do the panel borders, just like a regular old artist, like Jack Kirby with a ruler?
Oh, pretty much. I'll still do that. Like especially like more elaborate. It got more when I was doing FPP, where I got more elaborate like layouts with it. So I will do like straight edge and just do the initial panel borders on there.
Because we were talking like a little bit earlier off camera, where it was like, it feels like the perception a lot of people have is with inking digital, like you just sort of put your pen down and hit the line and it fills it in for you. But you're filling in everything by hand.
I still treat it like a brush, essentially. That's the biggest thing. Most people don't treat digital as like, it has to be a tool. It cannot just be a Photoshop filter.
Right.
Or just a shortcut. You got to treat it as you're still doing like pen and brush in your hand and just working at it.
What was the first book where you completely went digital on?
It's going to be FBP, actually no, it's going to be Maintenance issue 12. That's when I fully went just full on digital.
Okay. Do you give much notes to Rico, or where does he become involved? You say, I know he pitches ideas and things, but where does he become involved with like how things are going to look?
Well, usually I give Rico full range of what he wants to do. The only time I would do that, which I'll switch over to when I do, which is something I learned from Chris Bruner when he was staying with Jason Latour at his place, was because that's like the biggest collaborator that Rico's had is doing color holes when he needs a particular shot. So I'll go into, say like something like this. Initially line art here and there. Either Rico or I will add a stat here, or a stat here and there when I need it.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Rico, when I need it, like when I need some particular, I'll put in color holds in general for him, so he can just grab it really quick and pull it into it. And there's like particular cuts I need, so it'll look like this on this single layer, and just stuff so he can just grab really quick. And then on top of that, he can emphasize it a little bit more. And on top of that, even with sound effects.
Yeah, because you put your own sound effects in. You do them by hand.
Yeah, I do everything by like all the sound effects by hand. Where I love that color hold. I think that's what sells the book in general with it. That's the own style. I will put that on its own It's on there.
Pabooty?
Paboof.
Paboof.
You know, and those add like little stuff like the little, because as much as I love letterers and what do, there's certain story elements where I want to like pull stuff out. Like, well, he had like as Frank Kessler that keeps punching him in the face over and over again. It's like he was like, thoof, thoof,
Right.
thoof, thoof. But once you add that, you just see that like it looks silly. But when you add that into this empty hallway, from there,
Right.
it's like you just see empty hallway, even then emphasize it. But when you hear that on top of that, it just emphasizes it quite a bit more.
Do you ever think about the lettering then when you're laying out, or you just let the letterer figure out?
Oh, the lettering is a big part of the initial page in general. Like I have to think about the letter in general. Even this particular scene where post the initial issue of Into Spider-Verse #2, it's a big headline. I let the letters take care of like all initial like blunt headline stuff like that with that
Right.
in general. But there are particular cuts like this where the gray line, I'll add that for Rico where he can just ticker that, but the rest of it he can deal with it in general, but these are the initial cuts I need just to sell that page, and just to sell the ambience of that page.
Right.
Yeah.
So I was asking because seeing your layouts, you don't seem to indicate for yourself anywhere. Is it just your eyeball where you think the lettering is going to need to be? And
You'll see this, the insert page like on the page, like I will add something like to be continued with it, where it's like I can eyeball it where they're gonna go,
right.
and also, this one like I'm done here, but like usually normally I'll put like I know where the word balloon is gonna go and have a word balloon trail where it's gonna go in general, and just to get the beats in general for
Gotcha.
the letter. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just because it helps like to flow the eye of the reader in general with it.
No, and I've worked with artists where like they don't leave the space, and so I'm like begging them, like when you start laying it out, start penciling in like a balloon. Show yourself where they're at.
Yeah.
But like I think a lot of artists don't necessarily think about that, particularly when they're young, because they're like, this panel looks cool. Like, well, yeah, too bad she has to say 5 things on top of it.
See, that's what helped me when I started doing the self-publishing, especially with Frankie, and like writing for myself, like putting myself in that writer's shoes. Where like, all right, the dialogue has to be like this, and I need to get this particular phrase in to sell the story, and how do I frame this? And it doesn't matter if it looks cool. Like it matters like making sure it looks right. Generally.
Right. Yeah. So how many Frankies did you end up doing?
It's still like 2. I'm still in the process of doing 3 and 4 right now, but with all the Spider-Gwen hype right now, it's like slowly been getting harder in order to get back into it in general. That was the biggest thing. It's like that was part of the whole like pressure part with it in general that I could never do. It was a case where I'm doing essentially like doing pay work just in order just to pay rent, because after after I moved out with my wife, it was a case where like, I got to keep a continuous job because I need to pay rent. It's like, and that kind of like still made me in general to where it made me so miserable. Like I completely like I had to like go and do this thing and forget about this really passionate project I wanted to do. And that was kind of hard now for me to go back. Like
I would imagine, yeah. Well, but Spider-Gwen is the foreseeable future. Like, how long? Like, is there an initial commitment, or is it just like, let's go and see how long it takes?
Right now, it's like let's go. Let's see how long it takes. Me and Jason have several stories that we want to do, and I would love to do it. There's gonna be a case where we're gonna get. There are a couple scenarios that are gonna happen in general. Like, this case, we're gonna hit the story limit, and we're like, all right, we're done. We'll let someone else tell other stories with Gwen. 2, we're gonna have a big blowout because we have the direction on it.
Right.
Or 3 is like, which is the worst part. We just get bored and we just leave. That's the biggest one. Like we cannot get bored on this book.
Yeah.
Because it's pointless.
Yeah. But it seems like you're building now then sort of a name. The brand of Robbi Rodriguez is changing, so that when you do leave and you want to go back to
you douchey asshole.
No. Well, when you do go back to doing Frankie Get Your Gun or whatever else you want to do next, which I assume is what you're probably going to do next.
Yeah, I'm assuming that I'm gonna do that pretty soon again. The long-term plan in general is like I do this for a while. and enjoy just the admiration from the fans who enjoy this book. And then we get to the point where I started doing stuff my own. It's like, all right, now it's time to like wind a career down and figure out what I'm gonna do next for the rest of, like post this in general. But as long as that's the big end goal. It's like as long as I could tell the stories I want to tell in general with it, that is essentially going to be the long-term goal for my career.
Well, cool. Well, thank you for. I mean, I'm hoping you get to do that. I think you're going to be able to. I think you're on the right track. Thank you for like letting us take a peek at what you do and how.
Thanks, dude. Thanks for stopping by, dude.
All right, man. Let's give us another whiskey.
Yeah.